2025 was a year where video games stopped hedging their bets. This was a year of bold art direction, of soundtracks that carried entire scenes, of mechanics that just weren't afraid to slow down, get demanding, or fully commit to a vision, even if it meant alienating some players along the way. So this list isn't about sales numbers or online arguments. This is about craft. These are my 15 games of the year for 2025 in a very deliberate order, chosen for how confidently they use visual identity, sound and design, mechanical feel, and overall atmosphere to create something memorable. So let's get into it. Split Fiction hits like a fireworks show of ideas, but the difference is it's not random, it's controlled chaos. It's constantly changing the rules, then daring you to master the new ones fast. Mechanically, this is co-op that demands cooperation, not just two people in the same room. It's packed with moments where timing, communication, and shared problem solving are the entire point. Visually, it's fearless about contrast. Bright, playful fantasy 1 second, surreal abstraction the next. The art direction doesn't just decorate the story, it helps tell it by shifting mood, framing, and colour language. The sound design keeps you locked in throughout, with crisp feedback on movement, puzzle triggers and set piece transitions. And the music knows when to go big, and when to step back so character moments actually land. Split Fiction feels like a studio saying, "We're here to entertain you," and then over-delivering on that promise. It's inventive, relentless, and impossible to play passively. Mafia: The Old Country is confident enough to slow down, and that restraint gives it power. It's not trying to be infinite, it's trying to be immersive. The art direction in this game is all about the place, with sun-washed streets, smoky interiors, and period detail that feels lived in. It sells mood through the texture, lighting, and that old-world grit that makes every scene feel staged with intention. Mechanically, it leans into grounded action and deliberate pacing, where acknowledging danger matters more than flexing power. You move through missions with the feeling that choices have weight and consequences will follow. Sound design pulls you deeper. Ambience, distance, and room tone make environments feel real. The score stays disciplined, but swells at the perfect moments to turn a scene into a memory. This is a crime story that plays like prestige drama, focused, atmospheric, and stylish. And if you want mood, tension, and cinematic direction, then Mafia: The Old Country delivers. Lumines Arise is pure flow state design, the kind of game that deletes time. You start for 5 minutes, and suddenly it's an hour later. The mechanics are elegant and readable, but they scale into serious challenge through speed and pressure. And it's the rare puzzle game where difficulty feels like acceleration, not frustration. Visually, it's a reactive light show. Patterns, colour pulses, and shifting backgrounds that respond to what you do. The presentation turns every good sequence into a small performance. And that's even without considering that this is also on PlayStation VR 2, where it just becomes a completely new world. Sound is the engine here, because the music doesn't just accompany the game, it drives it. Beats and transitions shape your rhythm, and the best moments feel like you're playing inside the soundtrack. Lumines Arise is the definition of simple to learn, hard to stop. It's stylish, musical, and built for that perfect one more run compulsion. Lost Records Bloom and Rage is a vibe-first narrative game that wins through intimacy. It's less about spectacle and more about the emotional weight of memory. The art direction leans into nostalgia without making it cute. Soft lighting, analog texture, and a sense of imperfect recall. That camcorder lens energy gives scenes a personal, this mattered to someone feeling. Mechanically, it stays light on purpose, so attention stays on character and atmosphere. Interaction feels like choosing how you observe and what you decide to hold on to. Sound design keeps moments grounded. Rooms sound like rooms, streets sound like streets. Silence feels intentional. The music supports like a heartbeat, present, emotional, but never screaming over the scene. This is the kind of game that hits hardest after you've put the controller down, and it sticks because it trusts quiet moments to do the real work. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered feels like returning to a world that you didn't realise you missed quite this much. It's familiar, but sharper, smoother, and more inviting to live in. Visually, it modernises without erasing the original's slightly surreal charm. The landscapes feel richer, lighting feels more natural, and the world reads better while still feeling like Oblivion. Mechanically, the sandbox still remains the star, with odd quests, weird NPC energy, build freedom, and unpredictable detours. The best Oblivion moments are still the ones that you didn't plan for. Sound design and mix improvements give combat, magic, and environments more punch. And that iconic music still carries exploration like a warm spell that you just can't resist. This remaster works because it preserves personality while reducing friction. It's classic Elder Scrolls comfort with a cleaner, brighter window. Atomfall is tension that you can feel in your shoulders. It takes familiar spaces and makes them feel quietly wrong. The art direction turns countryside beauty into unease, with open fields, lonely roads, and places that look calm but feel unsafe. It's a game that uses emptiness like a threat. Mechanically, it rewards caution, curiosity, and improvisation more than brute force. Scarcity and uncertainty make every choice feel like a gamble that you're consciously taking. Sound design is a weapon here, with distant cues, subtle movement, and ambience that never fully relaxes. The music creeps rather than blasts, often feeling like dread slowly turning a key. Atomfall succeeds because it makes atmosphere into the gameplay. It's the kind of world that you explore with your ears as much as your eyes. The first Berserker Kazan is built for people who want combat to feel like a conversation with consequences. It's sharp, aggressive, and unapologetically demanding. Mechanically, it lives in the timing, with parries, dodges, spacing, and knowing when to commit. Bosses feel like exams, and victory feels earned in a way that you remember. The art direction throughout is bold and dramatic, with enemy silhouettes and effects designed to read clearly in motion. Fights are staged like events, with a sense of escalation and presence. The sound design sells impact. Metal rings, hits thud, and movement has real weight. The music surges at the right moments to push adrenaline without drowning out the clarity. Kazan is satisfying because it respects player skill and doesn't fake the intensity. When it clicks, it's electric, and you chase that feeling throughout. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a game that understands that Indiana Jones isn't a superhero. He's the world's greatest improviser. The fantasy here is smart under pressure, not unstoppable. Mechanically, this shines when it blends exploration, puzzles, and scrappy action into one steady adventure rhythm. You're constantly thinking, adapting, and using tools like you're solving problems mid-sprint. The art direction leans hard into adventure cinema, with iconic framing, location variety, and set pieces that feel handcrafted. It nails the I'm in a movie, but I'm actually driving it kind of vibe. And the sound design keeps the world lively, with tactile whip snaps, punchy impacts, and environmental detail that sells the place. The music knows how to swell into wonder and then step aside for quiet discovery. It's fun, confident, and surprisingly smart about what makes indie work. If you want high energy adventure that feels classic but plays modern, then this is it. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is intensity as craft. It doesn't aim to entertain you lightly, it aims to immerse you completely. Visually, it's striking in a way that feels both grounded and surreal, with scenery that looks real until it suddenly doesn't. The close framing makes every moment feel personal and inescapable. Mechanically, the game's pacing and encounters are built to keep you inside Senua's experience. When action hits, it's controlled, heavy, and deliberate instead of flashy for its own sake. Sound design is the headline here, with voices, space, texture, and pressure all working together like a second narrative. The music and sound cues don't just support mood, they shape your emotional state. Hellblade 2 is what happens when audiovisual direction becomes the point. It's unforgettable because it commits so hard that you can't half pay attention. Arc Raiders is adrenaline powered by one simple question. Do we risk more, or do we leave now? That tension is the whole loop, and it's addictive. Mechanically, it's about decision making under pressure, route planning, resource judgment, and choosing your battles wisely. Every extra minute that you stay in the field feels like daring the game to punish you. The art direction balances readability with atmosphere, so you can make fast calls without the world feeling sterile. The world has texture and threat, but it never sacrifices clarity. And sound design is critical here. Footsteps, distant fights, and mechanical danger cues feed your instincts constantly. Music and combat audio turn quiet travel into suspense and chaos into controlled panic. Arc Raiders works because it creates stories automatically. Win or lose, you come out with a tale. and that's why you queue again. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is already legendary. So Delta's job is simple: to modernise the feel without breaking its soul. And when a game remake respects tone, you can feel it immediately. Visually, the jungle comes alive with richer lighting, denser environments, and more cinematic readability. The upgrade supports stealth, rather than distracting from it. Mechanically, the survival layer remains the main hook. Stamina resources, camouflage, and the preparation shapes your moment-to-moment choices. It's stealth that feels physical, not abstract. Throughout, sound design reinforces the tension, from quiet movement to sudden alarms, with feedback that makes every mistake sting. And the music still carries that signature. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, doubles down on the strange sincerity that made the first game unforgettable. It's still about movement, planning and connection, but with sharper tools and bigger emotional swings. Mechanically, traversal is deeper and more expressive than before, rewarding creative solutions instead of just optimal ones. The act of preparing for a journey still matters, and that preparation becomes part of the story. Art direction leans into scale and loneliness, with wide spaces, harsh weather, and beauty that feels earned. The world design makes travel feel meaningful, not like filler between objectives. And the sound design and music are perfectly timed, turning long stretches into mood and turning arrivals into catharsis. The soundtrack doesn't just play, it lands, like a scene cue in film. This is Kojima at full confidence. Wonderfully weird, cinematic, emotional and exact. If you want a game that feels like an experience you can carry for months, then this one delivers. Silent Hill F understands that horror is best when it's slow, surgical, and inevitable. It doesn't chase you constantly, it haunts you. And the art direction here is oppressive and surreal, with environments that feel contaminated by something you just can't name. It's the kind of visual identity that makes you uneasy, even in stillness. Mechanically, Silent Hill F thrives on tension management. Exploration, uncertainty, and the discomfort of not knowing what's next. It's restraint as design, using gaps to let your mind do the damage. Sound design is relentless here, in its subtlety, with silence, distant cues, and audio textures that imply danger without showing it. The music creeps in like infection, and then retreats before you can feel safe. Silent Hill F works because it respects dread as a craft. It's horror with taste, control, and confidence, and a true return to form for the series. Ghost of Yotei looks like it was shot by a director who loves cinema as much as games. Every frame feels composed with intent. The art direction celebrates landscape, weather, and dramatic contrast, beauty that can turn threatening on a dime. It's a world that begs you throughout to stop and stare, and then punishes you for getting too comfortable. Mechanically, combat feels refined and expressive, built around timing, spacing, and commitment. Encounters read cleanly, but still demand precision when the stakes rise. Throughout, the sound design gives fights real weight, with steel, movement, and impact all crisp and readable. The music blends traditional flavour with cinematic intensity, making duels feel like climaxes instead of chores. Ghost of Yote is confident, stylish, and emotionally grounded. It's the kind of game where the presentation amplifies the mechanics instead of covering for them. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 feels like a debut made by a team with something to prove, and it has the talent to prove it. It's bold, stylish, and unmistakably itself. The art direction here is painterly and haunting, drawing from Belle Epoque inspiration to build a world that feels curated rather than generated. Every location looks like concept art that you can walk through. Mechanically, the combat is where it locks you in. Turn-based structure with real-time rhythm and reaction. That hybrid keeps battles lively, demanding attention without becoming exhausting. And when it clicks, it really clicks. Sound design and music are inseparable from the experience, with emotional themes that elevate exploration and make big moments hit harder. The soundtrack doesn't just decorate scenes, it truly defines them. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 earns its place by feeling complete. Vision, mechanics, and mood are all aligned. It's the kind of game that you finish and immediately want to hear someone else talk about. And you can see why it did so well at the Game Awards this year. It has an identity, and it sticks with it. Truly, unapologetically itself. This is what games should be. That's my 15 for 2025. Games with real identity, real craft, and real confidence. Drop your game of the year in the comments and tell me what I missed, because I know you're about to come in hot. If you want more, then like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.